Hi everyone, welcome tonight. Thank you for coming out. My name is Cristin Lowe and I am a divorce attorney, and tonight we are going to be going over all of the divorce forms that you need to get started in the divorce process, and we are going to be helping you. And the reason why we're doing this for you for free is because we love what we do. I really enjoy being a family law attorney. I enjoy helping people through a really difficult time in their lives, and when I go to the courthouse and I see people struggling and trying to get through the divorce process on their own, it's really hard, and I can't help everybody with their divorce, but I'm hoping that by giving seminars like this that I can help more people than I do right now. So I hope you're comfortable. The reason why we're doing it here instead of at the courthouse, first of all, budget cuts, there's no way they're open tonight. And second of all, we have a little bit more updated equipment and technology than they do, so you don't have to deal with the 60s projectors. All right, so we have our person set up. I have pulled an innocent victim out of this audience, and they are going to be helping me type the forms just to show you that anyone can do it, and it is accessible and it is doable. So we're just going to do this real time, and mistakes and all, we're going to keep going. So if you have any questions, and I know it's hard and this might be a little bit embarrassing to be asking your personal question to everyone here, so you can talk to me afterwards. If not, give me a call afterwards. If you need to email me, let's do that, and we'll make sure everybody has my contact information. And then with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so congratulations. You've all finished the first phase of the divorce, which is if for the petitioner, the petition, the summons, the UCCJA if you have kids, and you've done the service and done the proof of service of summons. If you're the respondent, you've done your response, and if you have kids, you've done your own UCCJA. So the UCCJA, that FL-150, that's done by both petitioners and by respondents if you have kids, no matter what. Okay, so now we're going to move into phase 2 of the divorce, which nobody likes, everybody hates, get over it, everybody has to do it. Okay, so this is where most people get bogged down, especially if you're self-represented, because you don't have somebody kind of encouraging you and being that pesky person to get you through it. Okay, so let's go back to our commonly used forms, and we're going to be going to the income and expense declaration, which is FL-150, FL-150. So on the surface, it seems very, very innocuous. Income and expense declarations, a declaration of all of that you earn and all that you spend. Well, people hate this form for many, many reasons, because it's a pain in the butt to do, I'll be honest. So we're going to, and it doesn't matter if you're the petitioner or the respondent, I'm speaking to all of you now. I think for just simplicity's sake, we're going to continue using Jamie as the petitioner, but understand that just because you're the respondent doesn't mean you get out of this. Everybody has to do this. It is mandatory. So we're going to pretend that we're Jamie, and we're actually probably going to skip through a lot of actually filling out this form just because it's so custom to every one of you. There's not an answer I can give you that's going to apply to everything. So this is where a lot of people get tripped up. I would say before you get started on this form, get your last 2 months worth of paycheck stubs, not 2, but 2 months worth. And the second thing I think you need to do is you need to figure out how often are you paid, because that is probably the #1 mistake that I see from people. Are you semi-monthly, meaning twice a month, first 15th, 15th and 30th, 5th and 20th, those are the common ways of getting paid, or are you bi-weekly, meaning every other week? Most people who are bi-weekly get paid every other Friday. So most people say, I get paid twice a month. Most of those people are actually bi-weekly, so know the difference. What is the difference? Semi-monthly means twice a month, meaning 2 times 12 equals 24 pay periods throughout the year. Bi-weekly means twice or every other week. There are 52 weeks in a year, divide by 2, 26 pay periods. That is a big difference in what your overall income is if you're paid 24 times or 26 times. So know the difference. If you really can't figure it out, look at your paycheck stubs and see the pay dates. If you really can't figure it out after that, call us, please. So you don't have to necessarily work with me or another one of the attorneys. You can work with, for example, our paralegal. She does a fantastic job at filling out these forms, and it might be a very cost-effective solution. And maybe even better than the cost-effectiveness is that you don't get a headache after filling out this form. And I guarantee you, most of you are going to feel overwhelmed and have a headache and hate this form by the time you're done with it, because it is very detail-oriented and it requires a lot of information, and it requires you to go through and think about certain things. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in. Assuming that you are employed, the first page really isn't too difficult. You're going to need to know your employer's name. You're going to need to know the address, the phone number. You need to be able to say your job title, how many hours a week you work, and when you started your job. And you want to put about how much you earn. If you are salaried, you probably want to put per month. And again, semi-monthly versus bi-weekly, that's going to change your numbers, so you want to give a good average. If you're paid on an hourly basis, you want to put what your hourly rate is. If you are paid on a weekly basis, for example, you're part of a union, most people in unions get paid once a week, unless you're a teacher, you could put that too. Number 2, your age and education. That's where you're going to list your current age. You're going to put your degrees. Have you completed high school? What are your degrees in? Do you have any vocational training? That sort of thing. That's the information you're going to fill out in number 2. Number 3 is tax information. Okay, again, big trap for most people. Remember, tax year, if you last filed taxes in 2014, that means you filed last taxes in the tax year 2013. So you want to specify tax year versus the filing year are different things. So they are asking for in the page the tax year. And so the most for all of you filing in 2014 would be the most recent is 2013. Your tax filing status, and you want to do, again, per your last tax return. You don't want to say, well, I'm going to be single, so I'm going to file taxes as single. Well, you were married last year, so you are going to be filing as probably married filing jointly. And you file in separately or in California or in another state. I claim the number of exemptions on my taxes, okay? This is where you don't want to look at your paycheck stub. A lot of people take the exemptions they claim off of their paycheck stub and they put that down there. That's not what they're asking. Those are discretionary. What we're talking about is how many exemptions you claim on your tax return itself. So if you have a question, look at your tax return. If you can't figure it out with your tax return, that's another reason to call us or talk to us after this, and we'll try and help you through it. Okay, but in general, and I'm going to use the Jamie example, in general, Jamie would be married filing jointly, and there would be 4 exemptions. Why? 1 for Jamie, 1 for Dale, 1 for Susan, 1 for Robert. That's 4 exemptions. However, on Jamie's paycheck, Jamie might be claiming single and 7. Why? For just the cash flow and the money in the pocket throughout the year. Number 4, other parties' income. I estimate their income is X. So let's say Jamie says, well, Dale doesn't work, so we're going to assume Dale's income is 0. This is not the time to harass your spouse. This is not the time to say, well, my spouse could be making $50,000 a year, and I've computed that because I've done all the research about the jobs in the area, and that person is just too lazy to go out and get a job. The judge doesn't care about that. The only thing they're asking is, what do you think the income is? So you need to put a reasonable estimate. Let's say they have a full-time job and they've got side work. That's where you would get the estimate. Or the person's on Social Security, or the person's on disability. You want to give a good estimate. And if you honestly don't know, it's okay to say unknown. Say, I don't know. If you file joint tax returns, though, that's kind of a hard thing to get away from. Look on the tax return, see how much your spouse earned. All right. This is a little bit of an odd form because they ask you to sign the first page, but I would tell you finish the whole form and then sign it at the end so you know it's all accurate. So going on to page 2, and when I said you need pay stubs, there you have attached copies of your pay stubs for the last 2 months and proof of any other income. This is, again, where you want to know semi-monthly versus bi-weekly. If you are semi-monthly or monthly, your last month's income and your average monthly income should be identical unless you've got a raise. Why? Because you're always paid twice a month. If you're bi-weekly, there are between 2 and 4 pay periods throughout the year where you are paid an extra pay period throughout the month. So that is going to make your average monthly and your last monthly a little bit off. You're going to need a calculator for this, unless you're very, very easy salaried and you get, for example, exactly $10,000 a month and you $120,000 of income. Very few people get that. So we're going to do and break it down. So salary, we've got a notation for overtime, for bonuses, and commissions, and that's how most people are going to fall into it. There are a lot of other things. If you're active duty military, you're going to be filling out L, but for the most part, and if you're unemployed, you've got the unemployment compensation. Some of this requires a lot of detail, and if you have questions, again, I'm going to encourage you to call our office and get some help on this form. All right, so going down to number 6, a lot of people this doesn't apply to, but if you have investment income, you're going to have to attach some sort of schedule showing your receipts. A lot of people have real property that they rent out at a loss. You're going to need to attach a page. It doesn't have to be a formal thing that you would do in a tax return, but you need to show the loss on the property. Income from self-employment. So if you are self-employed or you own your own business, you're going to leave the top part blank and you're going to fill that part out. Additional income, that's like lottery winnings, or I won at the slots, I went to Vegas, had a good time, that sort of thing. Change in income, I lost my job, or I had a 20% reduction in my salary, or I used to manage 15 territories, now I'm down to 3, therefore my income is less. Or I got a new job, I got a fantastic new job, I doubled my salary, or I just graduated from school. That sort of thing. My last 12 months, my income has changed. That's where, if you really want to give the court a narrative, that's where you would put it down. Number 10, deductions. So this is where, again, you want to go back on your paycheck stubs and really look it through. Do you have union dues? Required retirement payments. There is a difference between voluntary and mandatory retirement. In general, if you have CalPERS, so if you're a teacher, STRS is another one. If you're union, a lot of those people have mandatory retirement contributions. Most of us, however, have voluntary contributions. In other words, I choose to contribute to my retirement account versus I'm forced to. Medical insurance premiums. So, very quick explanation, premiums are something that you pay, not your out-of-pocket co-pays. It's what you pay for the monthly premium. That's exactly what we're talking about. And there's some other questions there that don't apply to everybody, but if they apply to you, you want to fill it out. Number 11, A through C, that's a basic summary of what do you have. What do you have in your checking accounts? What do you have that you could easily sell? What's the estimated value of your estate? Okay, going on to page 3. My best advice for you on page 3 is don't overthink it and be as factual as possible. So the first box, you're going to list everybody that lives with you, their age, their relationship, how much money they earn, and do they pay some of the household expenses. For most people, it's just the kids that live with you and they don't work, or if they do work, they don't contribute to the household expenses. So most of the time, that's a very easy one. Average monthly expenses. So this is basically your household budget. So if you're one of those people that does mint.com or one of those programs that kind of allocates your budget, you're already up on most of us. For everyone else, you're going to have to kind of estimate what those costs are. So can we scroll down just a little bit? Get the whole thing? Okay. So for most people, I'm going to say it's an estimated expenses because you're not going to go through. And when I say I don't overthink it, I don't need you to go through your bank statements for the last 12 months and figure out to the penny what your average grocery bill was. We just need a rough approximation of what it is. Things that you can get specifics on, your mortgage, your rent, that should be a fixed number every month. There's no reason why you can't fill that out. And just very briefly, health care costs not paid by insurance, that's for your household. So that's your kids and whatever you're personally paying. Child care, same thing. If you and your spouse are splitting child care, don't say it's $1,200 a month unless you're paying $1,200 and your spouse is paying $1,200. This is your personal household budget. If you're still living with your spouse, then the two of you can work together. But if you're in separate households, you want to be talking about what your monthly household budget is. So all of this is fairly obvious as far as what they are if you read the kind of the descriptions. If you do this, just remember you don't want to obsess about it and overthink it, but you also don't want $10,000 a month in expenses and $8,000 of income. That makes 0 sense. You don't want to exaggerate. You want a realistic picture. And if for nothing else, it's a really good tool for you in managing your new future budget. For a lot of you, the divorce process is kind of new. Setting up a separate household, it's new. This is a great tool, kind of multi-purpose, reuse it. Okay, so going down to number 14, those are installment payments. So anything you pay on a monthly basis, a second mortgage, auto loans, student loans, IRS tax debt that you're repaying, anything that you're paying on a regular monthly basis would go there. 15, you get to skip because you don't have an attorney, you're doing this all on your own. If you do need an attorney, guess what? That's something that your attorney knows how to fill out and will do it for you, so you don't have to worry about that no matter what. Page 4, if you have minor children of the relationship, you are going to fill this page out. And number 16, you're going to say how many kids. In this example, we have 2 kids, and then you're going to say the percentage of time they spend with Jamie and Dale. If you don't know, you can describe it. And then the next question is children's health care expenses. And then you either do or you don't have health insurance available to you. Doesn't mean you are actually insuring them. It's just, does the insurance exist? A lot of companies don't offer health insurance for children, just for the employees themselves. The court needs to know. So you either do or you don't. The rest of it is kind of what I consider discretionary. Most judges don't really read this very carefully. If you have a special needs child, you will want to consider filling this out. But if your kids just are, call it ordinary kids, meaning they have regular expenses, they do sports, they do different things, they go to childcare, that's typical. If they're going to boarding school, if they are doing traveling soccer, if they are Olympians, you want to fill that out a little bit more carefully. But in general, these are specific hardships. And at the very bottom, if you really want to tell the judge more information, they do allow you more space for that about your income and expenses. With this form, you are going to attach your last 2 months worth of paycheck stubs. If you are on unemployment, you need to do your stubs for unemployment for the last 2 months. Basically, any form of income or compensation or money that you're getting needs to be attached to this form. So this gets you 25% of the way through your financial disclosure. So take heart, we are going to get through this, and again, if you have too much of a headache, please call us and we'll help you with this form. Hi, I'm Cristin Lowe. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope that I was able to help you through this really difficult time in your life. I'd like to invite you to hit like or comment or subscribe to our video series. If you have any specific questions regarding the form or regarding the divorce process itself, please email me directly at Cristin@CristinLoweLaw.com. Thanks again.